This is a chess puzzle, it's white to move, and there's a forced checkmate in 290 moves. Pause the video here to solve it for yourself. Okay, I'm assuming you didn't try to solve this puzzle, so let me show you how you win. Now, the first thing you need to notice is that Stockfish thinks that this is completely lost for white, even though it isn't. And they think this because black is up a whole lot of material. And so we should be a little bit worried about what happens if we just do nothing. Let's say rook takes knight. Well, now we're just lost. The knight is able to move back, we move our king, and we're just immediately losing. So we cannot allow black to get active with all their extra material. So what can we do instead? Well, we can play a move like rook to d1, because rook to d1 is a great move. The king is unable to move to any square, so they're forced to block with the bishop, and we play the move c4 check. Now the king is forced to move back, it's the only square, and all of a sudden, black's position went from seemingly great to absolutely horrible. This rook is never going to move because it's pinned by the bishop. This knight is never going to move because it's pinned by this bishop. And this bishop is stuck behind the knight and the rook, so this bishop is also out of the game. All of a sudden, black's position went from seemingly great to seemingly not so good, because there's only a couple pieces that black can move. And the biggest threat to us right now is this knight, so we should really get rid of it. So the next move is rook takes knight. Now, what is this position? What is going on? After we capture the knight on g1, there is one way, only one way for white to win this game. And firstly, it's super important to note that the draw here is super easy. So all white needs to do is simply give a check whenever the bishop moves to the king. The bishop is forced to block. You move the rook wherever, the bishop moves, and you simply just repeat this forever. This is an easy draw for white. And if black ever tries to move these pawns, all white does is capture them. These pawns aren't going anywhere. The rook is simply guarding everything. So how do we actually win this after we take the knight? Well, the bishop is going to move because moving the pawns only makes progress for white, not black, because they will be captured eventually. So we give them a check, the bishop blocks, and we play the brilliant move king to a5. Why is king to a5 so brilliant? Well, notice since that this bishop can't move, really black has to move their light squared bishop. Otherwise, let's say they try to sack the rook, we just get a queen. And so moving the light squared bishop is really the only thing they want to do. They want to keep this position simple. They want to draw this game. Pushing this pawn will allow us to capture, so they can't do that. So what they do is they move this light squared bishop back and forth. And we march our king all the way down the board, to the square of d3. And here's where something truly brilliant happens. If they move the bishop now, because the rook is no longer pinning the bishop, we take on e3, and we are completely winning with an attack against the black king. And there's going to be checkmate in a few moves. This is very bad for black. So they cannot do this. Instead, they're going to be forced to keep moving their light squared bishop. But now we do something known as triangulation. Sometimes in chess, you want to pass on a move. And essentially, you can't just say, nah, I'd rather not move, and tell your opponent to move again. But what you can do is something called triangulation. In this position, notice that the bishop is on b7, and it's white's turn to move. What we're going to do is get this exact same position, only with black's turn to move, essentially wasting a move or giving a move to black, which is essentially bad for their position. Let me show you why. We're going to play the move rook to e1, they're going to move their bishop back. Rook to f1, they're going to move their bishop back, and we play the move rook to d1. Now we've essentially given an extra turn to black because now we're in the same position as we were before, only it's black's turn to move. And this makes all the difference because when the bishop moves back, we march our king all the way up the board, and now when we play the move king to b6, the bishop is unable to return to the square of b7 because our king would now capture it. This is only because we wasted a tempo that this is able to happen. And what this means is we've forced black to push one of their pawns because they have no other good move. Again, if they capture this bishop, we make a queen and instantly win. So their only legal move here is to either lose the bishop on this square, which is just instantly losing for black, or to push one of their pawns. And so pushing the pawn is the best choice. Except now we do the exact same thing a whole bunch of times. We march the king all the way down the board to d3, and all of a sudden, after we waste another tempo with our rook, oh my goodness, we're going to move all the way back, and force black to move the pawn again. And we do this again and again and again until black loses all of these pawns. And so I'm going to skip to the end of that because I'm sure you don't want to watch 20 minutes of me moving the king back and forth. Okay, so we're now on move 254. We're triangulating the rook once again. We've essentially just repeated the same thing a whole bunch of times. And what ends up happening is the king moves all the way back once again. The bishop is unable to move to the b7 square because the king captures. And so they promote their final h-pawn, Rook takes, the bishop moves, we give them a check, the bishop moves back, and all of a sudden the position looks different. Black now has no pawns left. Hey, that's pretty cool, but how do we take advantage of that? Well, we do the same thing we've been doing before. We need to waste a tempo and give it to black. And so we move the king to d3, we move the rook, we move the rook again, we move the rook again, we wasted a turn giving it to black, and we move the king all the way back up the board, and this time something else happens. Now black is in a horrible zugzwang. They really only have two moves here because rook takes bishop. This is just instantly lost. The only move that isn't instantly losing is either to promote to a queen or it's to sacrifice the bishop on b7. So let's look at what happens if bishop to b7 first. So bishop to b7, we're going to simply take it. And then they have to promote to a queen because they have no other legal moves. Again, they could take the bishop, but that just instantly loses as well. So they promote to a queen, we take their queen, they move their bishop, we give them a check, they move here, and now we play the move rook takes bishop check. Truly brilliant. They take with a pawn, and now we have a forced checkmate. Even though we only have two bishops and they have a whole bunch of pieces, there's nothing black can do. We simply move the king, they move their pawn. There's many different checkmates depending on what black does. We promote to a queen now. They simply take their bishop out of desperation. We take, they take, and bishop takes, sorry, queen takes, bishop is checkmate. So truly, this is an extremely long puzzle, but there's one other way that black can try to hold this all together. What if instead of bishop to b7, they decide to play the move b1 queen? Now, what are we supposed to do here? So they promote to a queen and we just take it simply, and after this they're just completely lost. If they decide to move the bishop, because otherwise they're also losing the light squared bishop, we decide to give them a check, they move back, and we play the move b4, and again we're threatening to checkmate them with b takes c5, and there's really nothing they can do here. The engine wants you to just take the bishop with check in order to prolong checkmate. You take with a queen, and black is just completely lost. There's checkmate in one. It doesn't matter what black does here. We're going to take this, or we're going to take the bishop. It's game over. Thanks for watching the video, and subscribe for more puzzles like this one.